Hey everyone, I'm the BigHugeNerd and welcome to one of my big huge tips and tricks and tutorial videos. Today we're talking about food, more specifically the growing of food. And again, even more specifically, just the four major staples of rice, potato, corn, and strawberry. We're just gonna head straight into it. First we're gonna talk about rice. Rice is good because it has a short growing period of 3 days, or more specifically 5.5 days. Because they don't grow during the night. They have a nightly resting period. They have a fairly low yield of 6 rice per plant, that is if it's grown to 100%. It is sensitive to soil fertility, as you can see. The soil has 100% fertility and rice has a 100% fertility sensitivity. That means a 1-to-1 gain or loss due to fertility. It can even randomly die if the soil is bad enough. So keep in mind that when you're growing rice. It is the most efficient food source if it's grown in a hydroponic basin, which has a 280% soil fertility, but that's a fairly more advanced video and we're not going to talk about that right now. It is labor intensive though, because it has a low yield and short growing period, so you have to have good growers or several growers that work on this at least every 5 days. And it tastes bad if it is eaten raw. You can eat it raw, but the colonist will have a mood debuff. Next up is the potato, which has call it a medium growing period of 5.8 days, or 10.5 days give or take, due to it not growing during the night. It has a medium yield of 11 potatoes per plant when 100% grown. It is a fairly hardy plant with a high tolerance of low fertility soil, meaning it doesn't really get a big boost as rice and corn in high fertility soil, but it grows well in bad soil such as stony soil, which has like 70% fertility. The potato is a good food to grow if you have very little soil to plant it in, if you have a lot of ground that is low on fertility, and it tastes bad if it's eaten raw. Corn is the plant that takes the longest to grow with 11.3 days. Or 20.8 days due to it not growing during the night. It also has the highest single yield per plant of 22 corn per 100% grown plant. It is as sensitive to the fertility in the soil as rice is, but it cannot be grown in hydroponic basins. It requires little labor because it has a high yield and low growing period, so you only have to deal with harvesting it every 21 days-ish, and it tastes bad if it is eaten raw. Strawberries have a medium growing period of 4.6 days, or about 8.5 days, due to it not growing during the night. It has a fairly low yield of 8 berries per plant at 100% grown. It is fairly sensitive to soil fertility. However, it is the least efficient food to grow because it has a fairly low yield and a medium growing period, so you get the least food per day. But the strawberry plant is a good plant to grow if you have no cooks or you have to free up labor that otherwise would have been used to make meals, because it tastes good even if it is eaten raw. You just need a lot of it to fully sustain your colonists. And as you can see at the finished product here of rice, potatoes, corn and berries, they deteriorate at a different pace from each other. The rice spoils in 40 days, the potatoes in 30 days, the corn is in a year, and then the berries in 14 days. Meaning if you can't refrigerate your harvest, then you can keep them for quite a few days before you have to use them for meals. The growing period also depends on the temperature and access to light. If there was a roof over here, then they wouldn't grow. If it was below 0 degrees, it wouldn't grow. Each plant starts at 5% grown because a 0% grown plant would be nothing. And let's take a look at how long it actually takes to grow. It starts at 6 hours, 12th of December. And ends at 10 hours, 3rd of December, meaning it takes between 5 and 6 days of growing. Let's look at the other plants here. The potato would be at 56% grown, the corn is at 31, and the strawberry is at 70% grown. Now if we take a look at plants grown in stony soil, which has a fertility of 70%, versus the plants in the regular 100% fertility soil, the rice is only at 74%, potatoes at 50%, corn at 23% and strawberries at 50%. You can also see the growth rate down in the left here. Rice, corn and strawberries is at 70%, However, the potatoes is at 88%, meaning the potatoes grow just a straight up 18% better than the other plants. You can also see with this fancy button down here on the right, the fertility overlay, where you can see an overlay of where the fertility is high and low and just nothing at all. You got rich soil here, which is the dark green. The pale green is the regular soil. Yellow is stony soil or low fertility soil. And if we repeat the same process here over in the rich soil patch, starting on 12th of December, 6 hours. And ending at about 15 hours 1st of April, May. It takes between 3 and 4 days for the rice to grow. And looking at the rice in the regular soil, it is at 79%, whilst the rice in rich soil is finished. So you shave off about 2 days if you plant it in rich soil. Looking at the growth rate here, the potato is at 49% grown with a growth rate of 116%, so it doesn't gain as much from being planted in rich soil as rice, corn, and strawberries. Corn is at 33%, and the strawberry is at 73%, versus 53% of strawberry in the normal soil. Corn, 25 in regular soil, 33 in rich soil, potatoes 49 in rich, 43 in regular soil. Not a huge difference on the potatoes, but a solid difference on the other plants here. And there you have it. If you were wondering which food to grow and why, hopefully this video cleared it up a little bit for you. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. I have been the BigHugeNerd, and I will see you next time. Goodbye for now.